Well, hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to my world. Welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You know, everybody needs a little TLC, and I am Cedrick LaFleur, your host, and I'm excited to be here with you tonight. You know, Talk Leadership with Cedrick is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. You know, our guiding leadership principle is the law of consistency, which says motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you going and growing. You see, you have to develop the good habits that lead to success. And that's just 80% of success. See, you can beat out most people by just showing up because they won't show up. And when you have people that show up consistently, they're always going to float to the top. And tonight, we have a dynamic leader who is doing some innovative things. And I can't wait to introduce you to her. You know, the boss, Bruce Springsteen, once said, a time comes when you need to stop waiting for the man or woman you want to become and start being the man or woman you want to be. So tonight, we're going to be talking to none other than Miss Rolanda McDuff. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you asking me to come aboard.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited that you accepted our invitation. Now, folks, you know I like to do a proper introduction of our guests, so let me do a proper introduction of Miss McDuff. So, Rolanda S. McDuff is a CPA, and she's a native of Tampa, Florida. She graduated from King High School, where she was first introduced to the field of accounting. She went on to attend North Carolina A&T University, and at North Carolina A&T, she earned her bachelor's degree in accounting. Now, you know she has to be a smart sister if she got a degree in accounting, because let me tell you what, I remember taking accounting 101, and when I took that class, I said, accounting's not for me. So Miss McDuffie, and I've been saying Miss McDuff, is McDuffie, continued her education by obtaining an MBA and master's in accounting and finance. She manages a successful CPA firm, which she started over 8 years ago. Now, her professional passion is to see small business owners and nonprofit organizations grow and become financially fit through the use of accounting, tax, and investment and business advisory services that she offers. That same passion is what drives her to serve the community in various ways related to her capabilities and her capacities. Ms. McDuffie is frequently called upon to provide her expertise at workshops, seminars, and conferences. She currently serves on the board of directors of several nonprofit organizations. While she certainly enjoys her profession, she understands the importance of balancing life with leisure activities. And we're going to talk about some of those. Her love of travel has taken her to, get this, South Africa, England, Italy, China, Iceland, Cuba, Kenya, and France, just to name a few. And who's counting? In addition to her travel, she enjoys listening to live music, movies, fine dining, adventurous excursions, and her incredible sense of humor helps her to not take her golf game too seriously. So let's welcome again Miss Rolanda S. McDuffie to the show. I'm excited to talk with you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here as well.
Awesome, awesome. So, folks, you make sure you share this show with someone, right? Because she's going to be talking about the stuff that you really need to hear in your business and know about and understand in your business. Because if you're in business, you're going to be bringing in some dollars. And if you're going to be bringing in some dollars, you're going to want to make sure that Uncle Sam stays off your back. And Rolanda is going to be the person you need to be best friends with.
Yes.
So you know, Rolanda, I read, you know, your bio and some information about you, but our audience really likes to hear from you about your journey and how did you get to where you are today?
Well, yes. So my journey began, I worked in corporate America for well over 13 years. I know I don't look that old, but I worked in different capacities in different industries in accounting, and I was able to learn and glean a lot of information from the different companies that I worked with, ranging from Fortune 500 companies to Big Four accounting firms. And then later on in my career, I realized that I wasn't being challenged anymore in corporate America, and I felt like something was missing. And so at that point, I decided to start my tax business on the side while I was still employed. While working in my tax business, it was great, but it got to a point where in corporate America, my busy time of the year in corporate America was the same time as my busy time in my business. And so it came to a point where I needed to make a decision on what I wanted to do. And working in my tax business on the side, what I realized is that a lot of business owners really didn't know their finances when it came time to really truly understanding their numbers. The only time they were really, many of them, I should say, were getting their or getting financial statements was when it was time to get their taxes done. And so they
Mm,
didn't know whether or not they made a profit in the year. They didn't even know if they were profitable or if, their pricing was correct. And so from that point, I decided that I wanted to provide business owners more information in how to become financially stable with their business as well as grow their businesses in addition to just getting their taxes or having tax compliance done at the end of the year. So I made the decision to leave corporate America and I started my own business about 8 years ago, really to help business owners grow their organizations, really understand how they can build a better business so that they can hire more individuals from the community and put them to work. And so it becomes a cycle of employing people from small business owners. And so that's kind of how I got started with my business.
wow. Well, that's an interesting journey and some decisions that you have to make. So, you know, I'm going to go through all the questions that I sent you, and but I want to ask a question. Why do you think um, a lot of entrepreneurs think last about a CPA versus thinking
Hmm.
first?
That's a great question. I truly believe that a lot of entrepreneurs feel like a CPA is a luxury instead of a necessity. So, what
Mm,
I often hear is once I start making a certain amount of money, then I'll hire a CPA. And that is actually the wrong concept and the wrong thinking when it comes to your business. A CPA can actually help you get to where you're trying to get, from a financial perspective, get to that growth level where you're trying to get to a lot quicker than if you tried to do it on your own. Is that advisory services that we provide that a lot of business owners are missing out on. Just having that trusted advisor to go to and ask questions about the growth of your business, not just about taxes, not just about accounting, but really how to grow your business. Whether we're talking about should you hire new employees right now? Do you have enough money to handle hiring new employees? Should you add on new products or services into your business? And if so, how do
mhm,
you price those items? Excuse me, it's just a lot of information. Or we're talking about business structures, choosing the right business structure. A lot of times, business owners will go to an attorney and they can give you the legal aspects of choosing the right business structure. But it's also important to speak to a CPA because we can give you that tax perspective as well as the accounting perspective of how to choose your business structure. Because whether you know it or not, the business structure also determines how you pay yourself as a business owner and your taxes that you'll pay at the end of the year. So it's important that you have that relationship with the CPA when you're starting out because those are important decisions that you need to make about your business and having that trusted advisor will help you with those decisions.
yes, absolutely. I love what you just said about business owners understanding to reverse the role of when they bring in a CPA into their when they're thinking about
Mhm.
their business, right? And
Yes,
sometimes they'll be thinking about cost, what it's going to cost me to bring a person in
yes,
versus what revenue I may miss out on if I don't bring that person in,
correct.
or what tax implication I may have if I don't think it
Yes,
through.
yes.
Yeah, I love that. So now, people listen to people who they know, like, and trust. So we read about your bio and all this type of stuff. Now we want to get some people to start liking you, right? Um, So tell us something interesting or fun about yourself.
So I am not the typical CPA. I think that's obvious. But aside from that, I do love to laugh. One of the great things that a lot of my clients say is that I help them to relax when we're talking about financial things. A mm, a different zone, right? We get stressed out when we start talking about finances, or it put knots in our stomach. But to be able to provide them the ability to laugh and joke and just kind of relax and then give them the information. And so they take it in a lot easier.
Hmm.
And it
Yes.
seems like a lot of times after our consultations, it's a joyful meeting versus it being a stressed out meeting, and that them having to think about finances after that. But I think something else that makes me a little bit different is I love adventure. I really have a need for speed. I'm a speed demon. I
Okay.
love
All
riding
right.
jet skis. I love riding ATVs. I've flown planes before. I've flown helicopters. Um, Great adventurer. One of We were talking about this earlier, but one of the best, probably the scariest and most adventurous things that I've done is I've gone shark cage diving off the coast of South Africa. So that was a great experience, a great adventure. But I've been there, done it, and don't ever have to do it again. So
Okay. All right. So were you, did you get to talk to, did you get to tell the shark about the latest tax laws?
I don't think the shark was that interested, and I was not thinking about accounting or taxes. I just trying to make sure I stayed safe.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Wow, well, that is adventurous, and I'm glad you said you need for speed. So I do ride motorcycles, just so you know, I have a
Okay.
little bit of adventure in me. All right,
All right. All
I
right.
I told Rolanda before the show that the most dangerous thing that I do is when I go to the fairgrounds is ride the bumper cars.
So
So,
I'm not as adventurous on the motorcycles, but I will ride a slingshot. I do enjoy those.
now, see, I have a Can-Am Spider.
Oh,
Yeah, which
nice.
is
Nice.
yeah. So it's made actually the chassis of the Can-Am Spider and the Slingshot are the exact same thing.
Hmm.
Um, okay, all right. Well, nothing wrong with a slingshot. Those things are definitely fun to ride. Um, so CPA, Certified Public Accountant.
Yeah.
Um, Now, some people um, in the audience don't really know everything that a CPA does, right? So help us understand what's your role, what does a CPA do, and the role that I know you've already kind of mentioned some of the role that it'll play for small businesses, but maybe even give it a little bit bigger picture in terms of a larger organization, the role that CPAs play.
Sure. So, do you mind if I start off by explaining a bookkeeper and an accountant first and then go into the
Absolutely.
role?
Yeah, that would be great.
So, okay. So many times entrepreneurs get the term bookkeeper, accountant, and CPA mixed up. So the best way I can describe it quickly and easily is that a bookkeeper generally records your transactions when we're talking about your revenue and expenses for the year. For the most part, bookkeepers have a 2 year degree, associate's degree, and so they're doing the bare basics of recording transactions for business owners. And then when we talk about an accountant, they generally have a 4 year degree. So in addition to recording the transactions for business owners, they also have the ability to depreciate assets, amortization. I'm sorry, they create reports for business owners as well. Sometimes they do tax preparation. But then when we talk about a CPA, I like to think about that as an accountant supersized, right? So we do have an accounting degree, and we can do all things that a bookkeeper and an accountant can do. But in addition to having that 4 year degree, most of us have a master's degree in accounting. In addition to that, we also have to sit for a 4 part exam that they say is relative, comparative to the bar exam, so to speak. And it takes about 2 days to take all 4 parts if you decided to do that at one time. But then we become licensed by the state that we're in. In addition to that, we're also required to get 80 hours of continuing education every 2 years. So we have to stay up to date to the changing tax laws and accounting laws that are happening within the US specifically and global if we choose to do that as well. So, in addition to doing the things that a bookkeeper and an accountant can do, we also have the ability to audit your financial statements if you require that, or prepare any type of reviewed or compiled statements that a lender or a bank may need to review on your behalf. We also create projections and reports. In addition to being able to prepare your taxes, we also have the ability to stand before the IRS on your behalf as well and present your case to the IRS if that ever becomes an issue for you. Excuse me, because of our experience and the education requirements that we also continue to get, we also can be a great trusted business advisor to you as a business owner to provide that information that you may need instead of going to your friend or family member and asking them the questions and they give you information based off of their experience only. It may have worked for them, but that does not mean that it's going to work for you as a business owner. So it's imperative that you have that trusted business advisor. I'm sorry. So in addition to doing all of those things, I think you asked me how we help businesses. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, in addition to being a business advisor, ways that I work with my clients, I am also a financial advisor as well. So, I work with them on investment strategies and how to best save for retirement for them and their employees as well. I also provide accounting software training for those business owners who are interested in doing their own accounting, but they need system training or their staff needs training. So, I go in and train them on how to use the accounting software correctly so that they have the information in, right? So when we talk about systems, good information going in is going to produce good information coming out. Bad information going in is going to produce bad information coming out. So those are some of the different ways. Oh, and then cash flow management as well are some of the ways that I assist business owners with their finances.
That is awesome. And folks, tonight you're going to learn a lot around why you need to have a CPA in your inner circle to help you as you continue to scale up in your business. Um, One time I heard, um, well, I didn't hear it actually. No, actually, I did hear you say this. Um, well, it looked like we might have lost Rolanda for a second here. I'll wait till she comes back, and then we will. I'll continue. But we're talking to Miss Rolanda McDuffie, and she's a CPA in the Tampa, Florida area. And Rolanda works with small businesses, entrepreneurs, and nonprofit organizations, helping them better understand the tax implications, helping them better understand why they need to have a CPA in their corner, and helping them to better understand the importance of the implications if you don't have those people in your inner circle or in your corner. So as soon as she gets back, I'm sure she's just having some internet issues. As soon as she gets back, we'll keep going. But all right, let me see here. All right, well, welcome back. Welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick.
I apologize for that technical difficulties.
Yeah, no worries at all. Looks like I might hear some background. So you can hear me, but you're on mute, so I can't hear you.
Sorry about that.
All right. Yeah. No problem. I think I'm hearing some feedback. We'll see how we can work through that. So once you said about accounting is more than just numbers. It helps us help us understand what you mean by it's more than just numbers.
Right. So when we're talking about accounting, it really tells the story when we're looking at your financial statements, right? So you have your profit and loss statement, which tells how profitable you are for that particular period, whether we're talking about a week, a month, or a year. When you're looking at your profit and loss statement, it will tell you whether or not you made a profit or there was a loss for your business. Balance sheet, it really tells a more in-depth story because it talks about the assets that you own as a business, the people that you owe as a business, and then how much equity the business owners have within that business. And so within the equity section, it also tells a summary of how much that business has earned or lost with from the time of existence. Now, this only happens if you're properly recording your financials the way that you should from the start of your business up until the date that you're running that particular report. But it's the financial statements are really, I was in a club back in college and it was called Alabama, and it was accounting is the language of business, the eyes and ears of management was the phrase of it, right? But if you really look at your financial statements as management of your business, it will tell you the story of what's going on with your business and whether or not you need to change things and what things need to be changed if you really understand how to read them.
Yes. Well, that is awesome, folks. So make sure, and I want to make sure that I put Rolanda's contact information up on the screen as well, because I want to make sure that if you need an accountant, well, let me not say if you are without a CPA right now, you need one.
Yeah.
And Rolanda's information is scrolling across the screen. You can reach out to her on her website, or you can reach her on Facebook. Make sure that you do that, right? So we know that everybody needs a CPA in their corner, and we understand that entrepreneurs really need them. But as an entrepreneur yourself, do you have a separate CPA that manages your business, or do you do it yourself?
So that is a great question. I do not have a separate CPA that manages my books or that I get advice from, but I do have a bookkeeper that I use to manage my books. So I'm not necessarily doing them myself.
Yourself. Awesome, awesome. So in other words, I asked that question because you're doing what you're teaching, right?
Yes.
You have someone else on the outside looking at your books as well to manage that. So why is cash flow management, or well, what is cash flow management, and why is that important for business owners? So you might be on mute because I can't hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yes, okay. I can.
Okay. Yes, I can. Sorry about that. So cash flow management is the management of cash that's coming in and out of a business. And what that looks like, there can be times that a business owner is profitable or a business organization is profitable. However, they don't have the proper cash coming in at the proper time to cover the cash that's going out in their business. So what I do is I work with business owners to ensure that they have enough cash coming in to cover those costs for payroll, inventory, or paying back that debt that is coming due on a regular basis. So again, you can be profitable, but still not be able to have enough cash to cover those things that are important to keep your business operating and running on a regular basis.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So in other words, we need to make sure that our ducks are right.
Our ducks are right. Yes, for sure.
Okay. So what do you think is the best for you? What's the best part of being a business owner?
The flexibility and the freedom is probably the thing that I love the best about being a business owner. There may be times where I'm so stressed out where I wake up in the morning and I feel like I need a beach day and I don't have to call into work and tell my boss that I need a mental health day. I can just take that day. But on the flip side of things, there does come a time where I may have to come back from the beach and be up and work until midnight to take care of those things that I wasn't able to do while I was in the office during the day. But again, it's just having that flexibility and freedom to kind of go and do the things that you want to do, not always when you want to, but you can juggle and move things around as you see fit.
Sure. So someone sitting out there right now and thinking that, hey, I would like to be a CPA. That sounds interesting. That sounds fun. Just from a college standpoint, what do they have to look forward to?
Ooh. I'm thinking back when I was in college and we were in the auditorium as freshmen, as accounting majors, and they told us to look to the left and look to the right. And they said the person to your left and your right will not be there when you graduate. And they were right. Accounting is very demanding. And either you're going to like it or you'll love it. But it also requires you to love to read, because there's going to be a lot of information that you're going to need to read at least 2 or 3 times just to get a good understanding of what it means. There's a misconception that accounting is really about numbers, and there are a lot of numbers in accounting, don't get me wrong, but it's really about theory as well, because you have to know when you're recording certain transactions for certain reasons. And that's probably the most important part about accounting. And so that's why it takes a lot of reading to really understand exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it, so you have a grasp on how to correctly record transactions in the financials.
Okay. All right.
So to read and have patience.
So you like to read and have patience, and it's a 4-year degree.
Yes, it is a 4-year degree.
Okay.
I would say, especially if you're going to get your CPA or think about getting your CPA, you should just go ahead and either get your master's or get that 5th year of accounting that's going to be required anyway.
Wow. Well, that is interesting. If a client was sitting here right now, or if I had that magic door and I'd go ding dong, and we open up the door and say, "Oh, it's one of Rolanda's clients," what would they say about you and your service?
Well, they can say, I would definitely say though that I'm knowledgeable and I provide them a lot of information around questions that they have come up. Again, I make them comfortable by keeping them entertained and laughing, because I love to laugh and joke as well. But then also that I keep them on track from a financial standpoint, because I don't allow them, or I put pressure on them to make sure that they stay in line to keep their finances in order, so that they can grow their organizations. And I think a lot of them appreciate that as well.
All right. That is awesome. That is great. So what's been your biggest challenge that you faced this year?
This year,
Well, actually, let me rephrase the question. Okay. What's been the biggest challenge you face in your entrepreneurial journey?
For me, marketing and advertising has been the biggest thing, because I like numbers, right? Reading and the creative side has been difficult. I was not difficult, a challenge for me. And then, especially when we talk about outsourcing, I truly believe in outsourcing and things should be outsourced. The other struggle for me, though, is a lot of people don't know accounting and taxes. And that comes to when you're talking about marketing and advertisers, a lot of them struggle with that concept of understanding exactly what I need. And so it's been a matter of me trying to get in and learn it and get a greater understanding for it, and appreciation as well. So that even when I do find someone that's a good fit for me, that I can explain to them what I need and how I need it as well.
Okay. All right. And that makes sense. Yeah. A lot of people struggle with understanding exactly everything that an accountant does, because you'll see so many things. You got the H&R Block, then you got the every little shopping center has the "we do your taxes" thing, right?
Yes.
And you have the CPA firms, and You have a tax lawyer. So people trying to understand the differences.
Hmm. And there are a lot of differences.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. So, a lot of times, Rolanda, entrepreneurs go into it, they open up a business, they're excited about it. They have this dream that they want to open up a restaurant, or they want to do this type of training or this type of service, or they want to make this type of product. But sometimes it doesn't go the way that they want to because they didn't have a CPA in their corner helping them understand the finances. So then all of a sudden they struggle, and they want to throw in the towel. They want to give up. What
Yeah.
advice would you give someone who is right now questioning whether they should give up or not?
Never give up. Right. That is going to be my biggest thing, is to never give up. There is a lot of free information available to business owners as well. And so even if you feel like you're in a place where you can't afford to hire someone like me, there is a lot of, like I said, a lot of free information when you're talking about the SBDC, the Women's Business Center. There's so much, and I do a lot of these workshops to provide that information to business owners so that they have it. Even when you're struggling with something, like, the old saying goes, when we were kids, practice makes perfect. The more that you work on doing something, the better it's going to become for you, or easier for you to maneuver that particular task. And of course, it's not going to be overnight. But again, if you keep trying and you keep working on it, it's going to get easier over time. And so, as business owners, there's a lot of information that you're not going to know starting out, right? And so, if you if you're constantly thinking about giving up every time you run into a challenge, you're probably not going to be in business for very long, because there's so many challenges that as entrepreneurs that you're going to run into. And so you must have that grit and that fight about you to continue on, and know that over time it will get easier, and the challenges that you had are just, it's just stumbling blocks to get you to a better place in the long run. And I would just encourage business owners to keep that in mind, and know that there's help available. You just have to reach out to those organizations within your community, to find that help. But just make sure that you're getting help in the right places as well, too.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So we have a question from a good friend of mine, Terry Augustine. He says, can you ask her what are some things you should look for when your accountant or your broker is not being honest?
Hmm. What are some things? Well, if you know that they're not being honest, I think that that's definitely a time for you to get a new accountant or broker, because you don't want to be with someone who you can't trust when it comes to your finances. Um, but I think you should start asking questions as well. So if you don't feel like they're being honest, you need to dig a little bit deeper to understand if they truly are or not being honest, and to understand exactly what they're not being honest about, because that could lead to some long-term problems and situations that you don't want to have to deal with down the road.
Yes, and Terry, I will tell you that you look good in pinstripes, brother, but you don't look good in those other type pinstripes. You know what I'm talking about, with them gling gling bars in front of your face. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely start throwing those questions down on them. I hear you. So hey, feel free, folks, to put your question in the chat like Terry did, and we'll try to get to that. So Rolando, you said you like, hey, fun and adventure and excitement. Well, we have a segment on the show that's called "Would You Rather." All right.
Okay.
So we're going to play a little round of "Would You Rather." So, would you rather meet your great grandchildren or your great grandparents?
I guess I'm going to go with great grandparents, since I don't have any children, and that might be a struggle.
Yeah, might be a little problem right now, right? Okay,
No, but I think I would also care about, I would want to know about their history and what they went through, so that I know what transpired in order for me to be here as an individual as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Would you rather eat dessert? Would you rather never eat dessert or never sleep?
That's not fair. I like both of them just as equal. I guess I'll give up dessert.
You give up dessert. All right. Would you
Yeah.
rather have $1 million or 1,000,000 friends?
Ooh. Friends can be iffy. I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah, absolutely. 1,000,000 friends, that's too many people to try to get along with. Oh my Lord. Would you rather be the smartest person or the funniest person?
Hmm. I would rather be the smartest person. Yes, I'm gonna go with smartest.
Smartest, all right. Would you rather own your own private island or your own private jet?
Ooh. I'm gonna go with jet. I'm
The
gonna go
jet?
with the jet. Mhm.
All right. Would you rather fly to the moon or be invisible?
Well, if I'm invisible, I can get on one of those little space shuttles. I'm gonna go with invisible.
Okay. All right. All right. So would you rather be a ninja or a pirate?
Ooh. I'm feeling ninja.
Okay, a ninja. All right. Here's a tough one. Would you rather eat melted ice cream or frozen watermelon?
Frozen. Ooh. Melted ice cream.
All right. So the last one, would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money? Oh, you're muted again.
Sorry about that, Cedric. I don't know why. I would say real money. I like real money.
You like the $100,000 in real money?
Yes.
All right.
Real money. All right.
Well, you can get
But
those
you
Amazon gift
those
cards.
Amazon
You
gift cards.
shopping on
You
Amazon all the
shopping on
time
Amazon
anyway.
all the time anyway.
That is true. But I want to have options.
Look. Jeff Bezos has all kind of. They even have an Amazon pharmacy now.
Amazon is taking over. It's taking over.
You can buy a house on Amazon now.
You can.
Man, just so Jeff
You might be
Bezos.
able to you may be able to buy a space shuttle soon as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true. You probably need a little bit more than a million in gift cards, though. Give us, one or two questions an entrepreneur should ask their CPA when they're interviewing them.
Great. So you definitely want to ask what type of clients that they serve and what type of services that they provide. Because that's important. Every CPA may not work with business owners, or for example, all CPAs don't work with nonprofit organizations. There are some CPAs who only do individual clients. In addition, there are some CPAs who only do accounting, or they may do taxes, or they may do both. So just getting an idea of what your needs are and what you're looking for from your CPA will help you understand what you're looking for when the CPA answers those types of questions as well. Because sometimes you may want a CPA that handles both your accounting and your taxes and provides you that business advisory services, or you may have a tax person that you've been using for years and you may only need your CPA for accounting. So it's important again to really understand what your needs are, so that they can assist you in the best ways possible.
Sure, absolutely. Well, awesome. Well, I put that in the chat for people so that you'll know what those two questions are. What are one or two things that you learned about yourself being a business owner?
Ooh, I have learned that I'm kind of a people pleaser.
Uh-oh.
um, I don't. I'm getting over that, so don't think you could come and take over. But for example, I hate giving people bad news, especially when it comes to their taxes where they owe a lot of money. For me, it does something to me. Like I want to make sure, but I guess to the benefit of the business owners that I work with, I'm constantly making sure that I've lowered their tax liability as much as possible. Because again, I don't want to call you and tell you that you owe a lot of money back to the IRS. I hate that. And then what else have I learned? I'm stronger than I thought I was. Um, just
Okay.
going through the many challenges and struggles of being a business owner, mental and physical. Right. There's a lot of things that I've overcome in this journey that I probably, if someone told me that I would have had to overcome, I don't think that I would have gone into this entrepreneurship thing.
Okay. All right. So in other words, you're saying you've gotten stronger.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I like that. I'm actually typing these questions in chats on LinkedIn as well, so that our LinkedIn audience can have those as well. So, knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done differently from when you first started your business?
I definitely would have planned a lot better. That is definitely something I would encourage business owners to work on. We hear making a business plan, and business plans are great. And I'm not saying that you need to create a 30-page business plan unless you're trying to get funding for your business. That's important. But really, just having a clear understanding from a marketing and advertising perspective of who your clients are, how you're going to get new clients, because that whole saying of if I create it they'll come, that's not really how business works,
Hmm.
right? And then getting clear on my financial perspective, although I did save before I left corporate America to start my business, I probably would have saved a little bit more, because there are times where, in the beginning, yes, you do have clients, but there were some lean times in there as well that I needed to have that additional cushion that I probably should have saved a little bit more for when I started my
Hmm.
business. And then just planning, really planning on having a marketing plan and a revenue plan of what that looks like, how many clients you're going to need to cover your operating expenses, how you're going to get those clients to cover those expenses. Yeah, that is something I wish I had done a better job of, and definitely business owners should consider that when starting out.
Wow. Well, that's actually really good. That's some of the things that we actually teach. And we have I have some partners that we do a Black Business Boot Camp,
Okay.
and we teach that type stuff to our customers in that boot entrepreneurs really in that boot camp. So, do you have a mentor?
I do. I have quite a few mentors actually
Do
in
you?
different areas.
Okay. All right. So, think about your mentors, and in the past 6 months, tell us one thing you've learned from your mentor that maybe the audience can benefit from.
In business, there's going to be, or there may be times when you have business relationships that don't pan out, or that may have some issues that cause tension between the two of you. But instead of ignoring those issues or letting them go and moving on, really addressing the person and addressing the issues head on, so that everybody is clear about what happened and why it happened. because it may not necessarily mean that that relationship is going to continue on, but it'll make you a better leader in the long run. It'll help you understand where you may have fallen short in a relationship, but also how to address other individuals if if that situation happens again in the future. So I thought that was very beneficial for me from a
Yeah,
growing
yeah,
perspective and adult development.
yeah, absolutely, and that could be beneficial to anyone. So, what's the best thing that's happened to you this year?
Hmm.
I mean,
Oh,
outside of coming on this show, what else?
well, I was definitely going to say that. But I became a first time author. So I wrote
Okay.
my first book and I um, released that this year, a few months back. So that was whew, that was definitely a labor of love. But it's called Creating a Successful Nonprofit by Knowing Your Numbers. And I wrote it specifically for board members and founders of nonprofit organizations, uh, based on a lot of issues that have come up in the past with just working with board members of nonprofit organizations. And because it's a frequently asked question or a frequently um, bad situation that's happening, I decided to put it in a book and capture it all so that any new organizations that are starting or are in the midst of being organized, if they have any questions about how to run their organization successfully, they would have a resource guide for that.
Well, that is awesome. So I'm going to make sure that I put that in the chat. I'm going to do that right now so that people can purchase your book because we want to promote um, your book, and it's called Creating a Successful Nonprofit by Knowing Your Numbers, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So just put that in the chat. You can go and check that out, and they can get it on Amazon, or where can they get it?
Yes, they can get it on Amazon, but and it's also on my website at Rolanda S. McDuff, or excuse me, at rsmcduffycpa.com as well.
Okay, perfect. And we're going to put her website back up on this in the scrolling across the screen so that you can go to her website and find out about her new book and purchase that book. We want to help support Rolanda's business and her book, and make it a bestseller.
Well,
Um,
thank you.
yeah. So yeah, I'll take the royalty check. Thank you. But so
It's not that much.
uh, Terry has another great question, actually. What are some do's and don'ts when choosing an accountant? And when is it safe to go with a new accountant just starting versus a well known firm? Great question, Terry.
Yes, for sure. What are some do's and don'ts when choosing an accountant? So I would say the first thing that you want to make sure is that your personalities mesh, because you'll be not spending a lot of time with them, but you'll be having some very in-depth conversations about your finances that are pretty intimate, right? And so you want to make sure that you feel comfortable with that accountant or CPA, and that you can be open and honest with that person. Because that is the one person I think of ourselves as a financial psychiatrist, right? Come lay down on my couch and tell me all your problems. Let me help you. But you need to feel that comfortable to be able to open up, and so that person can be able to fully help you in your financial decisions going down the road. Uh, excuse me. Some other things that you want to make sure that that person is going to be available to you year round, right? There's some accountants who only are available during tax season, and that's not really what you need from a business perspective. You want to be able to know that you can schedule a consultation with them throughout the year and not just at tax time, and that they have the ability to provide you the information that you need to help you run your business successfully. As don'ts, what are some don'ts that you don't want? You don't want someone who is lying to you for sure.
Mhm.
That's not a good. That's a bad red flag. Some don'ts are some things that I guess, and I hate to say that, but there's some people in this industry who aren't not just lying to you, but maybe doing some illicit activities on your behalf when we're talking about filing taxes. You want to make sure that the person that you're working with is on the up and up, because even when we're talking about filing taxes, even though they may have done the taxes or prepared your taxes incorrectly or did some illicit activity on your taxes, you're the one who signed the tax return. So ultimately, you're going to be the person responsible for that. So you want to make sure that you're working with someone that you can trust, and that is above the line or above the law when it comes to your business and your finances as well.
So what I put in there before you go on is I said,
Mhm.
don't ignore warning signs of illegal or unethical things.
I like that. Yes. Very good.
Perfect. All right. The second part of his question is what is it safe? When is it safe to go with a new accountant just starting versus a well-known?
So I guess the question is, how new is this new accountant? Did they just graduate from college and they're starting a
I
business?
got my diploma.
I would say you want to be cautious of that. But if they just started their business, that does not mean that they don't have experience. They could have had experience working at a big four accounting firm or working in private accounting, and they just decided to go out on their own. So that doesn't mean that they're not knowledgeable. I would highly suggest that if they are a new business owner, that you sit down and ask them questions to make sure that the questions that you're asking of them, they're able to fully provide you the information that you need, and not just judge it on the number of years that they've been in business. When you're talking about a well known and a well established firm, I think some things that you want to consider is, are you going to be working with one individual person, or will you be passed on to new individuals every time you make a phone call or have a question that comes up? And two, what, some of these well-known big firms, they may not have that client contact that you're looking for, that one-on-one attention, and so they may be too busy working on other things. um, I think it just depends on how complicated your financial situation is, whether or not you need to go with a bigger, larger, more established firm versus a smaller firm. So it's going to depend on the situation and what types of services that you're seeking, because some of the services that you're seeking in a bigger firm, you can also receive those from a smaller firm as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Well, this time has just like flown by. And it's amazing how when you're having fun, what happens, right? Time just
Yes.
seems to fly by. And we've been talking with Miss Rolanda McDuffie, who's a CPA in Tampa, Florida. But just because she's in Tampa doesn't mean she can't handle your taxes in Illinois or in Montana or in Mississippi or Texas or Louisiana. She can handle your taxes from anywhere, right?
That is very true. Yes, we are covered by the IRS all over the US. So I
Well,
have
there
clients
you
all over.
There you go. That is awesome, folks. So, Rolanda, again, thank you for coming on the show. I've enjoyed this 55 minutes that we've had. Thanks, Terry, for tuning in.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. I've definitely enjoyed being here. I hope that I provided some great information and feedback for your audience. And I do appreciate you asking me to come aboard.
Yes, absolutely. Some people dream of success and others just make it happen. So, when you're thinking of your business and you need a CPA, make sure you reach out to Rolanda and her services so that she can help you go above and beyond and be legal and stay legal and be out of jail
Yes.
with the IRS. Because, like I say, I don't play. They come
Yeah.
get it. So, Talk Leadership with Cedrick is on every Monday night at 6:30 Central Time, Tuesday night at 5:30 Central Time. Thursday edition of Talk Leadership with Cedrick is at 5:30 Central Time as well. Wednesday, you can catch us at noon with Joanna Rincon and myself on Cut the Cord. And this week, we have a dynamic show for you tomorrow. So make sure you tune in at 12 Central Time on Wednesday, and then Friday, you know, I'm going to bring it hard and heavy to you early in the morning at 8:30 Central Time with Friday mental motivation, folks. You know, I'm going to bring the pain for you real quick, 15 minutes, and I'm going to be out of there. I want to get you started on ending your week strong and starting your weekend even stronger. You know, folks, the only difference between ordinary and extraordinary is extra. Now, for all you educators out there, I know the word is extraordinary, but I don't like that word. I like extraordinary. You know, the only difference between winning and losing is belief. The only difference between excuse me, the only difference between hot water and boiling water is 1 degree. You see, at 211 degrees, water's hot. At 212 degrees, water boils. With boiling water comes steam. With steam, you can power a train. The only difference between a person reaching their full potential and not reaching their full potential is desire. So all you have to do is put a little extra in your life, and you can go above and beyond, folks. That's what we're here for just about every day of the week. That's what we're here for, to help you understand how to be a different person in your personal life, in your business, in your relationships, in your social life, everywhere, and in your careers. So thank you for tuning in. And as I always tell you, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, and don't be on the menu. Thank you and good night.